welcome to the deep dive. So OpenAI's new GPT 4.5, everyone's talking about it, all this stuff about emotionally intelligent AI.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there.
Right. It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
We're going to try to break it down, figure out what it means, for us, for everyone.
It's definitely a shift.
Yeah. And first off, OpenAI going with this bigger is better thing with GPT 4.5.
Yeah.
Huge AI models.
Right.
Some companies are doing smaller, more efficient models.
Right.
And so what's the thinking there?
It's interesting, isn't it? You think smaller, you'd think that would be better for, logic, reasoning. But OpenAI thinks that the key to understanding how humans talk to each other, even our emotions, it's all about feeding the AI more data, more knowledge. They're saying the bigger the brain, the better it understands the human heart.
Okay, but how does that work? More data equals more understanding.
Well, the idea is that with all this data, GPT 4.5 can see patterns in how we communicate that maybe smaller models would miss. It's not just the words, it's the little cues, the emotion behind the words, a friend who can tell you're stressed even if you say you're fine, that kind of thing.
So it's not just spitting out facts, it's trying to get a sense of how we feel.
Yeah, exactly. And that leads to another interesting claim. They're saying GPT 4.5 is less likely to hallucinate, make things up, because it just has so much more information to work with.
Right.
Less likely to go off the rails because it's got this broader frame of reference.
That's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
With all the talk about fake news and AI making stuff up.
Yeah.
If it's more reliable, that changes things.
Absolutely. But of course, we got to see it, right? Real world testing, see how much better it really is.
Right, out in the wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe bigger is better for understanding us, avoiding those AI hallucinations. But there's another thing. GPT 4.5 is not a reasoning model.
Right.
OpenAI has been doing a lot of those lately. So how does this fit in?
It's all part of the plan, I think. Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, he's actually said that GPT 4.5 would be their last non-reasoning model.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're thinking about the future where you, the user, don't even have to worry about picking the right AI model for the job,
So they're saying don't sweat it, just tell the AI what you need, and it'll figure it out.
Exactly. Reasoning model, language model, like GPT 4.5, whatever, the AI handles it all behind the scenes.
Makes sense.
Seamless, user-friendly.
Yeah, who wants to be an AI expert just to get stuff done?
Right. They're trying to make it easy for everyone, make these tools accessible. Yeah. But to make even more powerful models, one key strategy is pre-training.
Pre-training.
Yeah.
Okay, break that down. What does that even mean?
Think about it like you reading all those articles about GPT 4.5. You're basically pre-training yourself to understand this deep dive.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
OpenAI does that with their models. They give them tons of information before they start fine-tuning them for specific tasks, like giving the AI a crash course in, everything, building that foundation of knowledge to work from.
Okay, I got it.
So they think this, combined with more computing power and better training methods, that's the key to making AI even smarter.
But here's the thing that always gets me. With these giant, complex models, how do we ever really know what's going on inside them? Like trying to read a supercomputer's mind, almost.
Yeah, that is the big question. It all comes down to system interpretability.
Okay.
Basically figuring out why an AI makes the decisions it makes.
Right.
Peeking into its thought process.
But hold on, is that even possible? These models are so complex.
It's definitely tough, but OpenAI researchers think that the same methods they use for understanding small models, they can apply those to the big ones too. It's not just about the size, it's about the techniques you use.
So it's like, even though the AI is a super chef, we can still figure out the recipe book.
Exactly.
See the ingredients they're using.
Yeah, making sure it's not a black box. We need to understand it, trust it, and control it, especially as it gets more powerful.
Okay, so we've got bigger models, better at understanding us, less likely to make stuff up. Plus, OpenAI is working on making them more interpretable, transparent.
Right.
But how does that translate to real-world results? I'm guessing you've got some benchmark data for us.
You bet. OpenAI has released some benchmarks, and they're not quite what you'd expect.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me, what did they find?
Well, they put GPT 4.5 through a bunch of tests, compared it to other models. And it's not like a total win.
Really?
Yeah, it did amazing on language stuff, which makes sense.
Right.
But this O3 mini model actually beat it on math and science stuff.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
So GPT 4.5 isn't the best at everything. I thought with all that size, all that pre-training, It'd be crushing it.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that bigger isn't always better, at least not for everything. And OpenAI even says, these benchmark scores, they don't tell the whole story. They're really focused on like how these models actually feel to use, the experience.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not just about raw performance, but how smooth it is, how intuitive.
Right.
Like, one car might be faster, but the other one's more comfortable to drive, better handling.
Right, okay.
OpenAI is betting that GPT 4.5 will feel more natural, more human-like to use, even if it doesn't always win on those like technical tests.
Okay, so GPT 4.5, this huge model, good at understanding emotions, but it doesn't always get a perfect score.
Yeah.
How does this actually work in the real world?
Uh-huh.
Like, how would I use this emotionally intelligent AI?
Okay, imagine this. You're talking to a customer service chatbot, and it's one of those that just drives you crazy,
No, I know those.
doesn't understand you at all. But with an AI that can actually understand emotions, the chatbot could sense your frustration and change how it talks to you.
Hmm.
Maybe offer a solution that's more like empathetic or even just get you to a real person faster.
Okay, that would be a huge improvement, seriously. I can't tell you how many times. But what about beyond customer service? What else could we use this for?
Think about creative tools. Imagine like a writing assistant that not only catches your typos, but also understands like the tone and emotion you're going for.
Right.
It could suggest different words, even whole storylines that make your readers feel a certain way.
Wow, that would be amazing. Like a co-writer who can also read your mind.
Yeah, exactly. And it could go even further. Think about music or art created by AI.
Okay.
What if you could make a song that perfectly captures how you feel? Or art that expresses your emotions?
That's pretty wild. It's like AI becomes this creative partner, you know?
Yeah, helping us express ourselves in ways we couldn't before.
Yeah.
The potential is huge, but we got to remember AI is a tool. Like any tool, it can be used for good or bad, right?
Right.
It's up to us to make sure it's developed and used in a way that, benefits everyone.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's all exciting, but we got to be real about the risks too, right?
Yeah.
We talked about how AI could be used to manipulate people's emotions.
Right.
If it understands them that well.
Yeah, for sure. If it can understand our emotions, it could learn how to exploit them, especially like in marketing, advertising.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, companies already use all these tricks to influence us, and AI could take that to a whole other level.
So it's not just AI becoming more human. It's us needing to be more aware of how it's being used on us. Almost like we need a new kind of digital literacy.
Yeah, exactly. We need to think critically, be smart consumers in this new world, this AI-powered world.
Right.
Be able to spot when it's trying to manipulate us and demand that companies be transparent,
Yeah.
show us what they're doing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's like this emotionally intelligent AI is forcing us to think about what it means to be human. If machines can understand our emotions, even mimic them, what makes us different?
That's a deep question. As AI gets more advanced, it definitely challenges our ideas about what separates us from machines.
Yeah. It makes us think harder about consciousness, intelligence, emotion.
Yeah. And maybe, just maybe, it's pushing us to be more human ourselves. More mindful, more empathetic, more aware of the choices we make in this crazy world that's changing so fast.
I think you're right. It's a weird time, lots of uncertainty, but also lots of opportunity. If we approach AI with like caution, but also curiosity, we can use it to make things better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered a lot here, from the details of GPT 4.5 to the big picture of like emotionally intelligent AI. But before we wrap up, let's go back to something we talked about earlier, system interpretability.
Right.
We talked about how important it is to understand why AI makes decisions, but how do we actually do that?
That's the tough part, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to say it shouldn't be a black box.
Right.
But it's another to actually open it up and figure out what's going on inside.
Yeah, how do we interpret an AI system? It's like we're trying to crack a code, a language that's made up of algorithms and data points. Yeah, good analogy. And like any language, there are pattern structures you can learn to understand.
Okay.
One way researchers are tackling this system interpretability thing is by looking at the weights assigned to different features in the model.
Weights. Okay, you're going to have to explain that one. I'm picturing a little dumbbells inside the supercomputer.
Not quite. Think of it like baking, right?
Okay.
You have a recipe. It tells you how much of each ingredient to use, flour, sugar, whatever.
Right.
In an AI model, the weights tell the AI how important each piece of information is when it's, making a decision, like
Sure.
saying This is really important, use a lot of it,
Yeah.
but that one, just a pinch.
So if we figure out those weights, we can kind of see what the AI prioritizes, what it thinks is most important when it's making a choice.
Exactly. Like seeing which ingredients the chef uses the most, getting a peek at their secret recipe.
Right.
Another approach is to actually create visualizations of the model's internal representation. So you can see how the AI is organizing all that data it learned, how it groups things together, makes connections.
So it's like creating a map of the AI's brain, seeing how it sees the world.
Exactly. And by studying that map, we can start to get its thought process, see how it comes to its conclusions.
Fascinating.
But of course, this is all, early stages. It's tough to interpret these massive AI models,
Right.
but it's super important. If we want to trust them, make sure they're used for good.
It's like a whole new field of science is popping up, like
Yeah.
AI psychology or something.
You got it. And OpenAI is definitely leading the charge here, pushing for transparency, funding research on this whole interpretability thing.
Okay.
But they're not alone. Researchers all over the world are working on this, creating new tools and techniques to help us understand these complex systems.
Right.
Yeah,
That's good to hear. It feels like we're on the edge of something huge with AI, but it's also, a little scary.
for sure.
We need that potential. But we also need to be careful, manage the risks.
Yeah, absolutely. Understanding how they work, being able to, like you said, look under the hood, that's crucial.
Right.
It's about making sure AI stays a tool that we control, not the other way around.
Well, this has been a lot to think about today. From the nuts and bolts of GPT 4.5 to these bigger questions about emotionally intelligent AI and making sure we can understand it, interpret it.
Definitely a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot to take in, but hopefully it gives everyone listening a good foundation for understanding what's happening in AI right now.
Yeah, it's a fast-moving field.
Right, for sure.
Always something new.
And for everyone listening, one final thought. We talked about AI understanding our emotions, but what about the other way around? Could AI ever have its own emotions, its own feelings? We might not know the answer yet, but it's definitely something to think about as we explore this new world of AI.
It's a question that makes us think about what it really means to be human, to feel things, to experience the world.
Right.
It's something we'll have to keep in mind as AI keeps developing.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
And thanks for listening. Until next time.